Still standing, we take the University of Calabar song.
Need the broad expanse of Nigeria's sky, send to school with a vision bright, ever holding the banner of knowledge high, will go forward by wisdom's might. All hail to the alma mater, we have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. University of Calabar. They are quest for knowledge in every field, have its purpose to serve mankind. With the fervent hope that our efforts yield fruit for all who will come behind. All hail to the alma mater, we have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar. Mighty God, from whom all knowledge comes, let the wisdom in us goes low. May the knowledge gained in our campus here guide us steps as we onward go. All hail to the alma mater, we have come from near and far to unite in Calabar. We'll work to build our alma mater, University of Calabar.
You may please take your seat. Inaugural lecture is a forum where a professor pays his debts. And so please, it's time for the 129th inaugural lecturer to pay her debt today. The topic is sickness in small doses. The gods are not to blame. I repeat, sickness in small doses. The gods are not to blame. Before we go into the crux of today's matter, please permit me to recognize members of the high table. First to be recognized is the Vice Chancellor. She is no other person than Professor Florence Obi. Please put your hands together for her. Also to be recognized is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Inaugural. Please put your hands together for her. May I also recognize here present the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research, Linkages and Collaboration, Professor Peter Okafo. Please put your hands together. The Registrar is also here present, Mr. Gabriel Igbe. Please put your hands together for me. And may I recognize the Liberian Professor Anyediat Utui. You're welcome. May I also recognize the Chairman Committee of the Professor Ani Asira. Please put your hands together for me. The Provost College of Medical Sciences Professor Ngom is also here present. Put your hands together for me. The Provost School of Postgraduate Studies Professor Eyo Ubara Eyo is also here present. You'll recognize that. May I also recognize the person that will take up the citation of the 129th inaugural lecturer. That's no other person than Dr. Afion Ogu. She's down here. Put your hands together for her. Welcome, madam. And may I especially recognize a professor of community health Maternal and Child Health, who is the 129th inaugural lecturer. And she is no other person than Professor Angela Ekanem Oyo-Ita. Put your hands together for her. She will be properly introduced in the course of the lecture. May I also recognize deans of faculties here present, directors of institute, heads of departments, medical elders here present. Please, you're recognized. May I recognize all medical doctors here present, Chairman Ceremonial Committee, Professor Prince Wamo, past inaugural lecturers, invited guests, members of the university community, Malabites and Malabresses. Please, you're all recognized. And so it's now time to recognize the immediate family of the inaugural lecturer. May I recognize her dear husband, her love, her sugar in the tea that was rubbing her back when she was trying to put the lecture on ground. The husband to the lecturer, architect Francis Edith Oyo-Ita. Put your hands together for me. You're welcome, sir. The children are also here. The daughter, Dorothy Edith Oyo-Ita. You're welcome. Dr. Abigail Edith Oyo-Ita. You're welcome. And Daniel Edith Oyo-Ita. You're all recognized. This permits me to recognize our royal fathers here present. May I recognize the leader of the course, the head of Ijagam and head of Ijagam Nation, His Royal Majesty Ndiden Ita Basitita Ita Third. Please can we put our hands together? You're welcome, sir. These are your recognized. May I also recognize here present His Royal Majesty Muri Munene of the Foot and his dear wife, Professor Itambo Ganitan Ekanem and Professor Eliswa Ita. You're welcome. I've just been signaled. We have a representative from the Gabon's palace. His Eminence Edideme Okun Abasitu the Fifth, the Obon of Calabar and the Grand Patriarch of the Kingdom, represented by Tugo Bishop Iyo Basi Eko. Please put your hands together for me. I also recognize here present the former chairman, Cross River State Traditional Rulers Council and paramount ruler of Bakassi, His Royal Majesty Etienne Barrister Etam Okun Edith. Please put your hands together for me. You're welcome, sir. Also to be recognized is the husband to the Chief Judge of Cross River State, Elder Dr. Basi Ikeme. He's here. Please put your hands together for me. I also recognize the former Chief Judge of Cross River State, Honorable Chief Justice Dorothy Iyala Eden retired. Please put your hands together for her. You're welcome, ma'am. I also recognize here present Justice Charles Ifama. Please put your hands together for them. Clergy is also here, former chaplain of the University of Calabar Chapter of Redemption, Reverend Israel Iyo and his dear wife. Please put your hands together for them. At this point, permit me to hand over the microphone to the registrar to continue with the further proceedings of this inaugural lecture. Please put your hands together for him.
I was just told that Justice Ikeme is here with his dear wife. And we put our hands together for him. Achibo? Sorry about that. Thank you, LT, for building that wonderful protocol which I want to stand on. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I want to respectfully invite the chairman of this great gathering, who incidentally is the Vice Chancellor of our great university, Professor Florence Banku Obi, to make his opening remarks. Can we put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor?
Thank you, Registrar. The 129th Inaugural Lecturer, my dear friend and darling sister, Professor Angela Oyo-Ita. My principal officers were all here seated. Their Royal Highnesses, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to, on behalf of the management of the University of Calabar, welcome each and every one of you to the 129th Inaugural Lecture, which will be presented by no other person than a woman who has worked very hard in the past 4 years in collaborating with me to change the narrative of the University of Calabar, Professor Angela Ekanem. I am so excited today that she's paying her debts to the university. And after today, Angela will know that she's a very free woman. She's now a real professor with a capital P. And she can go about her normal businesses. And she can start anywhere and say, I am a professor of the University of Calabar with capital P. Because if you are not giving you another lecture, you are still a professor with small P. I will not stop reminding you. A professor with small P. So prepare to pay your debts. I don't want to play the role of Dr. Alex Timothy. And I'm sure many of our colleagues read the piece written by Alex Timothy, who tried to peep into the lecture of sickness in small doses. The gods are not to blame. And tried to see what, he tried to giraffe to know what the lecture will be all about. I don't want to guess. I want to leave Angela to have her day today to tell us why we should be sick in small doses and what will make sickness in small doses, and which gods we should not blame and which God we should blame. Today is a day. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will simply say welcome to this ceremony while we leave Angela to have a full day today. Congratulations, Professor Angela Oyo-Ita, the 129th Inaugural Lecture.
Thank you, dear Vice Chancellor. I think the next question that is in the minds of everybody is, who is Professor Angela Oyo-Ita? They say, if you ask me, now who I will ask. But there is somebody who wants to tell us a little about the inaugural lecture. And so at this point, the chairman permit me to invite Dr. Affion Oku, an associate professor of the Department of Community Health, to come forward and tell us a little about Professor Angela Oyo-Ita. And we put our hands together for her.
The chairman of this occasion, the 129th inaugural lecture, our amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Florence Baku-Obi, Your Excellencies here present, please permit me to adopt the already existing protocol. I would like the 129th inaugural lecturer, my mentor, teacher, and one giant who allowed me ride on her back to become what I am today, to please stand. as I take her citation. Today we gather to celebrate the illustrious career and groundbreaking contributions of this gentle giant in the person of Professor Angela Ekanem Oyo-Ita, an erudite professor, excellent teacher, mentor to many, clinician, international researcher, an astute administrator, and a public health advocate. She has dedicated her life to advancing health systems and improving public health outcomes in Nigeria and beyond. This epic Amazon is a native of Odupani local government area of Cross River State, was born to Mr. Thomas Eyonya of Mbiabo Ikonito and Mrs. Bernadette Efananya of Henshota, Calabar. She's the fourth child in a family of 5 female children. 2 are now resting in the bosom of the Lord. She had her primary education in Girls Primary School, Efurabua, Calabar, where she performed excellently, becoming the best pupil from Odupani LGA in the 1975 Common Entrance Examination. I thought you would clap for her. Due to her exceptional performance, young Angela gained admission into 3 different schools: Holy Child Secondary School, Calabar, Federal Government Girls College, Calabar, and a scholarship sports in an exchange program the government of Southeastern State had with Plateau State, where she was admitted to Girls Secondary School, Shendam. Despite her mother's objections, due to her very young age and concerns about the quality of education, adventurous Angela insisted on attending Girls Secondary School, Shendam. However, after her first term, her mother convinced her father for her to take up her admission in Federal Government Girls College, Calabar, where she completed her secondary education in 1980. She gained admission to study medicine and surgery in the prestigious University of Calabar in 1982 and completed her undergraduate medical training with a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, MBBCH, in 1988. She did her internship in the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital and proceeded to Oyo State for her youth service in the Government House Clinic. On her return, she commenced her postgraduate residency training in University of Calabar Teaching Hospital as the first resident doctor in the Department of Community Medicine, and completed this training in 2003, becoming a fellow of the West African College of Physicians in Community Health. She also earned a Master's of Science in Public Health from the same university in 2002. She began her career in University of Calabar in 2003 and was promoted to the rank of professor in 2013, the first professor in the Department of Community Medicine. I expect that applause to be louder. Throughout her career, she has sought to enhance her professional knowledge, receiving international training in clinical research, statistical methods, and ethics. She has participated in specialized courses at globally renowned institutions, including a critical appraisal course at the Liverpool School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine 2000, and a training on good clinical research in Gabon in 2006. These qualifications have underpinned her commitment to evidence-based medicine and her focus on improving healthcare quality through research and ethical standards. In her role as a chief consultant in community health at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, Professor Oyo-Ita has been pivotal in guiding health service delivery and clinical education. She has trained several postgraduate students who are now fellows, consultants, and supervised several dissertations. She is also an examiner of the West African College of Physicians. Please clap for her. This tip is very intimidating. As an academic, Prof. Oyo-Ita has enriched the field of community medicine, teaching core courses in biostatistics, epidemiology, research methodology, and clinical epidemiology. Her mentorship of medical students and postgraduate trainees has established a legacy of research-focused practitioners in Nigeria. She has served as the first head of the Department of Community Medicine, University of Calabar, and her influence as an educator is reflected in her dedication to curriculum development and clinical training of undergraduate and postgraduate students. She has produced 2 professors and still counting. Prof. Oyo-Ita's extensive research portfolio includes over 50 peer-reviewed publications, with notable studies in areas such as childhood vaccination, maternal and child health, malaria control, HIV/AIDS care, and public health ethics. Her work in the Niger Delta region during her sabbatical leave in Shell Petroleum Development Company assessed immunization coverage in southern states, while her HIV research addressed healthcare workers' attitudes, which led to a significant improvement in the quality of HIV care and stigma reduction. Through collaboration with WHO, she has conducted clinical trials on malaria treatments and led assessments for maternal and child health services. Her research in these fields has not only contributed to national health policies, but also provided insights for the global health community. She is currently the Deputy Director of Nigerian Branch, Cochrane Center in Research Body in South Africa. Her experience extends into healthcare administration, with significant leadership as a Commissioner of Health in Cross River State, from 2012 to 2015, under the administration of His Excellency Senator Leo Niboke. During her tenure, she initiated transformative health reforms, particularly in the area of maternal and child health, immunization, HIV care, and healthcare access. She played an instrumental role in establishing the state's health policy, securing donor partnerships, and setting up vital health infrastructure in the states, such as vesico-vaginal fistula center, the dialysis unit, and the burns unit. Her stewardship also led to enhanced HIV care through the CEDARS project and prevention of maternal to child transmission of HIV/AIDS across the state. Prof has demonstrated an exceptional ability to foster public-private partnership, successfully collaborating with global organizations such as USAID, Family Health International, Pathfinder, and CHAI, facilitating the expansion of HIV prevention and treatment programs, allowing HIV testing and ARV services to be accessible in both public and private health centers across the states. Under her guidance, the states implemented robust health data systems, a testament to her commitment to evidence-based decision-making. Please give her a round of applause. Prof's achievements have earned her a place on multiple national technical working committees, including the Burden of Disease Technical Group for the National Strategic Health Plan and University of Calabar Teaching Hospital Ethics Committee. She has been a guiding force in numerous health initiatives, too numerous to mention. Her participation in high-level workshops and conferences around the world, from Uganda, South Africa, Canada, France, underscores her commitment to learning and sharing knowledge in public health and health policy. She has led and supported many international projects, COVAC projects, TRL project, no activity, and has visited results enabling over 6,000 students to graduate during the ASU strike. Her efforts have significantly improved the efficiency and accessibility of results management, benefiting both the students and the staff. No wonder she was voted for a second term and is usually referred to as Mama DBC results. Her influence in healthcare policy, community medicine, and academic training has been transformative, and her contributions continue to shape the future of public health in Nigeria. Her legacy is a testament to her vision, her resilience, and her lifelong commitment to improving the health and well-being of communities across Nigeria. She is a devout Christian, loves reading and writing poems, sewing, and traveling. She's married to her heartthrob, architect Francis Oyo-Ita, and the marriage is blessed with 3 amazing children. Join me, ladies and gentlemen, as I invite to the podium this intellectual juggernaut, consummate administrator, global researcher, excellent teacher, a God-fearing woman, and an ultimate game changer. Our 129th inaugural lecturer of this great institution, Professor Angela Ekanem Oyo-Ita.
You are welcome to the 129th inaugural lecture of the University of Calabar, titled Sickness in Small Doses. The gods are not to blame. It's 30th December 2019. An alert is received from Blue Dot Artificial Intelligence platform of unusual pneumonia clustering around a market in Wuhan, China. Within a month, 18 countries were affected, and public health emergency of international concern was declared by the WHO. By 11th of March, full-blown pandemic was declared. In less than 4 years, all countries of the world was affected, leaving only 2, and only God knows why those 2. These were South Korea and Turkmenistan. 800 million cases were recorded, with 7 billion deaths, and still counting. Is this new? No, it's been the trend. It's not the first time that we've had pandemics. We've had histories of pandemics, claiming millions of lives. If you see this slide, you have the first one, the Black Death, taking 200 million lives. And COVID had just 7 million lives taken. What on earth is causing this? The Greeks believed it was their god, Zeus. The box he gave to Epimetheus, that the wife Pandora opened it, and viruses and diseases were released. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said no, it's the imbalance of humor. The fluid, he believes, was in control of temperament. In Europe, they said, oh, the cholera was caused by bad air. Again, it was known that it is the astrological movement that brought about the plague. Back here, we said it is the breach of customs, and somebody must have whispered. An answer is unhappy. Witchcraft, sorcery, demonic possessions, you name it. Punishment for sins were all attributed to this. What you believe is the cause is what you will treat. So, prayers and plans to be as holy as one can be so that one would abet the disease. If you look at this picture, you see 2 people flogging themselves. That was called flagellation. Then they would walk around the streets and flog themselves for the sins they had committed in a bid to appease God so that they will not catch the disease. And of course, back home, our traditional healers would also perform their own rites. But as time moved on, we started isolating the sick, and sanitary reforms came in, hospitals were built. In the 19th century, a German physician called Robert Koch refused the extraneous causes of sickness. He took the blood from a sick cow and put it under the microscope and saw some rock-like substances, which he believed was the cause of the illness. And he took the blood of that cow and gave to the sheep, a sheep, and the sheep came down with the same illness. So he concluded that germs, those rock-like things he saw under the microscope, were the cause of that illness. So germs, but not the gods, are the causes of the diseases that we have. It is understood that there must be a relationship between the germs, the environment that we live in, and the host. If we are able to control this triangle, we will be able to control the infection. So, plans are made to either eliminate the agent, and that is done by the antibiotics, anti-malarials that we take. They target the agents in the host. The environment, if we eliminate the reservoir of infection by improving sanitation, improve water supply, avoiding overcrowding, that is proper housing and all that, eliminating the vector. You know how much we go after mosquito, that is the vector for malaria. I want to use this opportunity to thank His Excellency Prince Otto for what he has done for our state. Only God knows how much infection we have when the refuse is heaped up. I want to appreciate the government for that, and I pray that we keep it up, because that way we are averting illness and epidemics. Then the host, eliminate the host. I want you to think, eliminate the host. Is it possible? It is for the host that the preventive measures are put in. So we can't eliminate the host. The host can be man, it can be animal. Now, if the animal has economic value, it will also be difficult to eliminate such. So what do we do for the host? We need to boost up the immunity of the host. Now, this can be done by the person having the infection. When a man gets in contact with an infective agent, his or her immunity is built up. Now, that immunity depends on the kind of bacteria, whether it is very viral, that is very deadly or not. If it's very deadly, the man's immunity may not be able to withstand it. So it is only when the man survives the infection that the immunity is built up. Otherwise, he is down also with it. So either we have the host surviving the infection, or vaccination is given. Now, talking about the host, I want to share a history that is very interesting. The Typhoid Mary story. This was a lady, an Irish American, that was employed by a New York banker, Charles Warren, as a cook. Within 1 week of Mary's employment, 6 out of 11 members of the family came down with typhoid. Warren contracted an engineer, sanitary engineer, Soba, to investigate for him why his family was ill. Soba looked through his records, asked questions, and suspected that probably the clams they ate predisposed to it. But he also observed that not everybody that ate the clams. His suspicion narrowed down to Mary. Mary left that employment and went for another. Soba went after her, made every effort to get her tested for typhoid, and she refused. Eventually, he got the police, and Mary was pinned down and tested, and behold, she had typhoid. The rest is in the book. Mary was quarantined for 26 years. where she died. How did Mary survive? Staying healthy. Many people died. Thousands of people were infected. But Mary lived on. It might surprise you to know that it's not everybody who gets infected with a germ that comes down with the disease. Mary is a typical example. And we call such people healthy carriers in medicine. It depicts their immune status. They are able to withstand, their soldiers can withstand the infection, but that doesn't stop them from being dangerous. They still transmit the infection, even though they stay healthy. So the immune response is of two types. You have the general immune response and the specific. The general immune response is not that strong, but sometimes it's enough to ward off infection. But the specific one is the adaptive that produces antibodies that will fight the infection. This is a demonstration of how it works. So you have the virus there that comes in contact with the body and penetrates the body. The first reaction is that general response. And when that cannot contain it, the adaptive response comes in. And that adaptive produces antibodies. And what also is called memory cells. That's very important. Because the memory cells will remember. If the person comes in contact with that particular germ again, the memory sparks up and more antibodies are produced to defend the person from being overwhelmed. That underlies how vaccines work. Now, vaccines, they're not scientific breakthrough. They were not discovered by one science in one laboratory. They were actually discovered in the community where people lived. They were ordinary men's attempts to overcome smallpox. The experiences they went through, they tried one thing or the other to be sure that they overcame the infection. Now, smallpox had been with man for 3,000 to 4,000 years. What observations did they make? They observed that mild forms of the disease were protective. So, what did they do? They exposed themselves to whatever form of mild infection they could. One of such was what is called insufflation. The Chinese did this, and what that meant was they scraped the scab from smallpox and inhaled. The scab had the germs in it, and it protected them. They didn't understand how it worked. All they knew was that this practice helped. Somewhere in South Africa, where smallpox is believed to have originated from, pus from the smallpox would be rubbed into a wound. That also helped. And I'm wondering how many of us here would have subjected himself or herself to such a treatment. So that is where that resentment started. People wouldn't dare or wouldn't want to be. But then, if you wanted to survive, you needed to do it. So many people refused and died. And those that did, made it. Now, it was also observed that milkmaids who had cowpox had milder smallpox. This led Edward Jenner, a surgeon, to inject an 8-year-old healthy boy with substance he obtained from cowpox from a milkmaid called Sarah Nelmes. What happened thereafter? The boy became ill, mild illness, and had local reactions where the injection was given. After 1 month, Edward repeated that injection, and James was not ill. He had received protection from that first one that he had. So Jenner called this his vaccine, vaccina, meaning cow. That is where the term vaccination comes from. So, what then is a vaccine? A vaccine is simply tamed germ that causes sickness in small doses. It is a weakened or deactivated whole or subpart of a germ that the ability to cause severe disease is lost. That small dose of infection activates the soldiers of the body so that the person gets protected. There are different types of these vaccines. They were produced during those pandemics, but most often they came too late after millions of lives had been wasted. But for the first time in history of man, vaccine was produced during the pandemic. And if you remember the slide I showed you, COVID-19 had only 7 million deaths, whereas others had at least 2 digits of millions of deaths. When we talk about whole vaccine, the live vaccines, they are made of the entire germ. It contains the entire germ. As you see, germs have different parts. An example is shown there. So as small as they are, they also are made up of components of parts. But for a live germ, it has all the parts of the germ in it. But the only thing is that the germ is fed with food that would weaken it. So either the germ is fed with food that will weaken it, or it is killed so that the chemical composition is altered. Then we also have vaccines that are made from fragments, parts of the germ. It is called subunit and conjugate vaccine. Now you've seen that the germ there has different parts. Any part of that germ can stimulate antibodies. So, genetically engineered processes are engaged to get this substance. Sometimes it is just a covering, a part of the covering of a bacteria. Or like COVID, it has some spikes on it. Just that part is taken. And sometimes it is manufactured. Like we have malaria vaccine now. Malaria vaccine is a subunit vaccine. A part called circumpozoid is taken and injected into the body. Not the whole parasite, just a part of it. When it's done this way, it does not cause sickness, but it is enough to stimulate the body to produce antibodies against that particular germ. Then we have another type that uses genetic coding for the fragments, again, not the entire germ. Now, all of us, I'm sure we're here during COVID-19, and we saw what happened. Many people didn't want the messenger RNA vaccine. Some people said it will alter the genetic composition of the person and all that. Absolutely not. What this vaccine does is that it acts exactly as the virus itself would do. The scientists here know that when one is infected by a virus, the virus uses human cells to multiply. A virus is not considered to be a living agent because it cannot reproduce on itself. It depends on the human cell to reproduce. And so, in this instance, it is not the entire germ, but just a part of it that is taken. And in this instance for COVID, it is the spike from the COVID that is taken. The genetic coding for that spike is introduced into the body. It still uses the human cell just as the whole cell would normally have done, but it does not produce the germ, but it produces those spikes. And the body will now recognize the spike as a foreign body and produce antibodies against it. Sometimes this germ, this fragment is put into another virus, harmless virus, and introduced into the body. These vaccines are very easy to produce. That is how we were able to get COVID-19 during the pandemic, and it was able to stir that stem of infection. When vaccination is administered, yes, it targets the person that received the vaccination, but beyond that, we are also looking at the entire population. My pointer is not working well, but please look at this diagram that I have here. You see the infected person there. What herd immunity means is that if a large population of the people, proportion of the people are immune against a particular germ, the chance of transmission is reduced, because an infected person coming into a crowded place is getting in contact with many immune persons, so he or she cannot transmit the infection. So some people who have not been immunized are protected. I hope you understand. Now, just imagine if that, in that diagram, we have 4 immune persons. Just imagine that one of them was a susceptible person. Do you think he will be protected? Will that person be protected? No. That is why everybody needs to be protected. Because yes, herd immunity is good. It helps to protect others generally. But you as a person, you wouldn't even know whether the person you are close to is already infected. And so, as a person, you stand a risk of contracting the infection. So, we need to have ourselves protected. You getting immunized, you form a barrier against infection. So, apart from you preventing yourself from having infection, you are also your brother's keeper, indirectly ensuring that the next person also has the protection. Now, what proportion of people should be protected depends on the germ. For COVID-19, it is believed that if 85% of people are protected, then the herd immunity would be high. We have several challenges for infectious diseases. Most of the illnesses we have is caused by these agents. It's the highest burden of infection in sub-Saharan Africa because of the environment and all that, nutritional status, you name it. And children are the worst hit for this because they are naive. Their immune system is not primed enough to withstand those infections. Apart from that, we also observe that all infections that have been in other places move to new locations, like Ebola. Ebola is common in Congo, but before we knew it, Ebola landed in West Africa. And the people in West Africa had not known it before. So their immune system could not withstand the infection. We also have new infections coming like COVID-19. And when those new agents come in like that, the impact is usually overwhelming. And with increasing speed of travel, spread is inevitable. Someone has observed that one of the challenges we have is not just that we are seeing the emergence of new diseases at a pace we've never seen before, but that we are spreading these diseases around incredibly quickly. Each year, like this 2024, 4 billion people have boarded commercial flights and traveled 7 trillion kilometers. And this can be compared to making 20,000 round trips from the Earth to the Sun. Some of us seated here are part of it. Did I say so? Almost all of us. Very few have not traveled. You have contributed to this data. So as you move, the germs you carry go along with you. As simple as that. And all of us are carrying the germs, that's the truth. So the focus is on boosting, improving the immunity of individuals for us to achieve that herd immunity. So this is where my contribution to development comes in. It is observed that uptake of vaccines remain very low in low and middle income countries. Epidemics and pandemics can be very dramatic. Everybody will scream, oh, it's here, it's there. But trust me, those ones that are there constantly, the endemic diseases, they are causing a lot of harm amongst us. So part of my work was to look at promoting uptake of childhood vaccination and why children are more susceptible to infectious diseases because their immune status are poorly developed. It is known that 2 out of 3 children that are ill or dead must have died from one infectious disease or the other. So boosting children's immunity reduces their vulnerability. That is why the government brought the expanded program on immunization in 1980, targeting 6 killer diseases, with the hope that we will achieve 80% coverage of these vaccines. So one of the researches I did was to look at belief about tetanus, and I carried out this work in Akamba local government area. During that time, my findings showed that the belief in witches still existed because they believed that either the witch would cause it or a woman with odon, they call tetanus odon. The woman with odon can transmit the infection to another child. And they believed that it was through the unhealed umbilical stump. So they did everything to make sure that the stump heals fast. And what did they do? In their ignorance, you put sputum on the floor and rub on the stump in the bid to get it healed fast. In the process, introducing tetanus to the child. Now, when I was a medical student, neonatal tetanus was so common. I want to ask the pediatricians in our midst, do we still have neonatal tetanus unit in sick babies unit? Are the pediatricians here? Do we still have this in our unit, in our hospital? Tetanus unit. Sorry, this slide not allowing me to see. Do we have? No. I'm glad to hear that. So, I think we are winning the game. But we need to drive this further. Because of all the countries in the world, Nigeria is one of 10 that still have tetanus. We are making progress. And I know that if we keep pushing it, we will also eliminate tetanus in our community. We have absolutely no reason for any child to be subjected to this. When I had my sabbatical in Shell Petroleum Development Company, I surveyed 6 states in the south, 5 in south and 1 in southeast on the level of uptake. And I observed that there was a lot of variability between vaccine uptake. Edo State, for instance, had 81% of children fully immunized, whereas Delta State had 55. Now in Edo State, not one single child was unvaccinated. In Delta, 39% of the children were unvaccinated. Availability of health facility delivery at health facility, and trained attendants at birth were factors we discovered could help to ensure that a child had full vaccination. In another study, we also observed that we have missed opportunities. People who come to our health facilities should not go back without getting vaccinated. But unknown to us, they will pass and they will go. 66% from the study that we did came in and were not, that should have been vaccinated. These were mothers, but they were not. And that was because we didn't take proper history. We didn't also know the vaccination schedule for tetanus, and we depended on the doctors to refer, whereas a nurse could easily have done that. So there are missed opportunities in our midst. This was for mothers, and we also have amongst children too, that they come in and leave. Any contact with the health facility should be an opportunity for that child to be vaccinated. In another work that I did, I looked at communication, vaccine communication. That project was called COMVAC. If we are able to communicate, share information on vaccination well enough, people will be knowledgeable to take action for their lives. So we looked at, this was a consortium of experts, and the base was a Norwegian Knowledge Center. University of Calabar was part of it, Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute, Center for Health Communication in Australia, Ministry of Health in Mozambique, and International Union for Health and Health Promotion were part of the consortium. We developed a classification on strategies, vaccine communication strategies available to be used. We went further to look at which of these strategies, and we identified 7 of the purposes for vaccine communication and the target. We now look at what strategies do we as a country use. And it was discovered that it was mainly to inform and educate, just 2. And we targeted just vaccine campaigns. Routine vaccination was not in the picture. Now, routine vaccinations are vaccinations carried out on a daily basis in health facilities. But we don't develop communication for routine vaccination. It is when we have campaigns that we will force the place roads and everywhere with posters and all whatnot. Some of the posters we have in our health facilities are product of campaigns. If you want to design communication for routine vaccination, definitely the experts know that the way it is designed will be different. And this study was in Calabar here and in Bauchi. We realized that yes, Bauchi and Calabar has the same purpose and target, but Bauchi used journalists more, Muslim Women's Association, doctors, and celebrities during their own campaigns. And they also used radio among others. In Mozambique and Cameroon, same as Nigeria, but Mozambique was different in a way that there were text messages, town criers, radio, and at all the study sites, the people said we should target the men. And that is because the men are in charge of the families. Whatever the man will say, the family will follow suit. And they said to get the attention, put the message during news. Men in the house, is that true? So your attention will be caught if, as you are watching 10 o'clock news, there is an advert on vaccination. And then they also said, target men after prayers in the mosque. They identified community leaders, our community leaders, that they are also gatekeepers, and that the community leaders, whatever they tell the people to do, they will do it. So if we get our messages through them, that it will be effectively delivered. What did we do? We decided to try out this in a community trial with sponsorship from International Initiative for Evaluation through a randomized control trial. I have here with me products from that study. The handbook that we have produced for our health, our traditional leaders and religious leaders. And if somebody here could help me share this with our traditional leaders in the house. Sorry if you are not a traditional leader. And maybe the one people in front too will go around. So, more of a pictorial. Just to get them informed about what vaccines they want, what vaccines are, what they can do. And believe you me, this was so effective that almost everywhere that you go, that the traditional ruler had this handbook, they will be ranting immunization. So much so that the state immunization officer was shocked in a community she went to. She didn't know about the project. She just went for immunization campaign. And the traditional leader there was talking to the people. She said, when the man finished, she had nothing to say. And she was surprised where he got his information from. And then the man pulled out his handbook on vaccination. How effective was this? Very, very effective. In the 2 local government area, for instance, they started collecting contributions from men. What did they use it for? They hired boats to make sure health workers went into the unreachable areas. They provided motorcycles. They supported vaccination. And in almost every community had one thing or the other to do. At Utuba Obodi, they built a bridge. Now, you see a health worker there on that bridge. They call that bridge Monkey Bridge. There was a community that health workers could not reach across the water. But when we had these projects with them, the community built a bridge. And the community will carry the vaccine and all the products and cross the bridge with the health workers to that community, bringing vaccines to the doorstep of the people that needed it. So this tells us a lot about what our community leaders can do. Those of you from the Ministry of Health, I had invited the Commissioner of Health. I want him to give a good thought to this. There is no reason that we cannot reach our children working with our traditional rulers here. There are resources that we have not tapped into, and we really need to get close to them to get them. I want to thank the traditional rulers here present for their living support for the welfare of their people. Thank you so much, leaders. There were other benefits. Like I said, unvaccinated children reduced, the proportion of unvaccinated children reduced from 7 to 0.4%. I mean, by the time a traditional ruler enters the village and says, everybody out. In some places, they say, if you don't receive vaccine, leave my community. But we told them to please take it easy with them and coach them that with time, that they will understand. So there is so much that can be done by our traditional leaders. Now that is just one intervention. Many experts have done a lot more. And we decided to pull the work done by other experts in the field on what really works, because we want to reach our children at all costs. What really works? Many people have tested many other interventions. And we found out that having immunization outreach was effective, whether there was incentive or not. And that incentive was not money. Non-monetary incentive was enough to get people out. Getting this immunization out there where people live would help a lot. And of course, this one that I had just shared with you was one of such. Health education. That is why we are concerned about vaccine communication, that we need to do a lot more, helping our health workers to be able to communicate effectively on vaccination, and home-based records too were effective. This is simply a graph. When we do systematic review, it represents what is effective. Now, the lines that you see there on the right-hand side represent every study that has been done in this area. And the black diamond there is the summary. If that black diamond touches the line, that intervention is not effective. If it is squarely, fully on the right, it means that the intervention is effective. So for this, health education, when compared with routine care, improved childhood vaccination. We move on from that to operations research on improving paper-based information system for health. This was sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. There was a call for innovative paper tools to be used in areas that the people cannot afford care. Very important, the neglected people. And this gave birth to what we call physique, paper-based health system for comprehensive care. It was a human-centered research, and we developed the tools ensuring that the feelings of the people who would use the tools were taken care of. This was another collaborative study with the Swiss CPH, Swiss Tropical and Public Health Institute, with our university, Mozambique and Côte d'Ivoire. Our aim was to support clinical decision-making for frontline health workers, those at the primary health care level. Now, those health workers are very passionate about the work they do. We need to support them. But if they are passionate and they are wrong, you know they can be passionately wrong in what they are doing. That is why we need to have our eyes on them. Every clinical experience generates data. You walk into a hospital, your BP is taken, and other vital signs are taken. That data can go a long way to make you better when you return. It can go a long way to make sure the next person that comes with similar signs as you have is taken care of quickly. So, a lot of times we don't really think twice about the data we are generating at that level. And what do? We keep collecting the data. We have 23 data tools that we use in our health facilities to pull data. Data on immunization, data on antenatal care, data, you name it. And when we finish, this is sent to the District Health Information System, which is a platform in the cloud. We decided to look to verify the quality of the data we were collecting using 52 indicators. 21 of them were perfectly accurate. For 20, there was over-reporting and 11 under-reporting. Now, these are pushed out to the next level. Decision not taken. So, we work with local researchers and policymakers to develop new tools that would inform on decision right at the point of care. 7 data tools were produced with referrals. Those are the tools when we took them to the health workers and we trained them on how to use them. These innovative data tools are very different from what is the usual in our setting. That it helps like a graphical conversation using clinical algorithm. It provides visual cues and iconography for sequential processing of the clinical experience the patient has with the health worker. This is an example of it. Now, a patient is before a health worker. There is a prompting using the data tool. Can you hear a sound while breathing? And if the answer is yes, how severe is it? The health worker ticks. So the health worker is prompted to ask pertinent questions. And as she keeps asking and ticking that tool, if she takes the thick one which is on the far right, it tells her, even if it is one, that this case is not for this level, refer. So a decision is taken right there and then. And if he says this case is a case of pneumonia, she can defend it. I saw this, and with this signs, I am convinced this child has pneumonia. I am telling you that the number of pneumonia cases reported on our system may not really be pneumonia from experience. So the physics solution is a decision-making tool that helps us to make decisions. The health worker makes decision right at the point of care before pushing that information out to policymakers. And we believe that this will help in improving health outcomes. Now we have vaccination tally, antenatal recording, vaccination registry, which helps you to know even a child falls out of step with vaccination. That card tells you immediately and helps you to follow up the child quickly. So physics is a solution that supports health workers to also generate credible data. Apart from that clinical decision, credible data is generated. It is also a template for electronic database. We are asking for electronic to digitalize our system. No problem. So many setbacks are there waiting for us. No lights, the systems are not there, and what have you, training. But be that as it may, these tools are like templates ready. If we are ready to run and give electronic database, digitalize the system, we have what it takes to run without thinking twice. Eradication of these diseases is very feasible. Vaccine is next to water in controlling infectious diseases. Smallpox, one of the world's deadliest diseases, has been eradicated using vaccine. And worrisome is the pace it took. This vaccine was discovered in 1796, and it took 184 years, almost 2 centuries, for us to eradicate smallpox. What was the reason? Hesitancy, delay. Should we not? Hesitancy is defined as refusal or delay to accept vaccine. And WHO has identified this as a top health threat in healthcare delivery. It is fueled by myths and conspiracy theories, misinformation, disinformation. All this have daunting negative effect on vaccine uptake. It didn't start today. These conspiracy theories are as old as vaccine itself. Right from the first go, stories came out. If you vaccinate a child or you get vaccinated for smallpox, some parts of your body will turn into cow. Or you'll deliver a child that will be half cow. So people didn't take it. And this continued. Did it stop the spread of the germs? Did it stop the spread of the germs? No. So, recently, in the 19th century, it was estimated that smallpox alone claimed 300 to 400 million lives. And just imagine how many lives it claimed for the 3,000 to 4,000 years of its existence. Measles has re-emerged, even in areas that were controlled. 55
556% increase in cases of measles have been reported. You heard me well, 556%. In areas that were certified free of measles, suddenly, because of these conspiracy theories, people let go their guards, and of course, immunity dropped, and the germs came in again. As long as we have not controlled polio in Afghanistan and Pakistan, we are still at risk. We are still losing our young ones to these diseases. The question is, who is losing? We are losing. Our precious children are dying. Who is to blame for the loss of lives? Some are still blaming the gods. Go to our villages and see whether we are still not sacrificing. Some say it is God, punishment from God. So, and we keep rejecting vaccines using all platforms. They take an antecedent from the Bible that the plague in Egypt. I want us to reason a little. Was it really God that caused the plague in Egypt? Did he cause it? This is my own take to it. It was God that sent the children of Israel to Egypt. It wasn't Pharaoh that brought them there. The person that took them there decided that, okay, it's enough. Come over and tell Pharaoh, let my people go. What did Pharaoh say? Who are you that I should let them go? Stubbornness. Became obstinate. No, they can't go. They're doing the same thing with vaccines. Stubborn. Can't take it. No. As I look at the Bible again, I see that God warned us in Genesis. He said, my spirit will not strive with man forever. So as Pharaoh is resisting, he first said, let my people go. Said, no, I can't. Said, okay, fine. In Revelation, last book, the very last chapter, he said, let him that will be unjust still. By the time God says, continue in your ways, I will not talk to you again. It's finished. If God caused the plague in Egypt, it was Pharaoh's stubbornness that caused the disease in Egypt. It is our stubbornness that is causing these diseases to continue killing our children and us too. So, we need to be careful. There are areas for further studies. An African adage says, when the frog in thorns falls into the pit, others behind take precautions. The gods are not to blame. When the endemic of the demons appears, threatening to slaughter, weakening our army and sapping our fountain with pleasure, enlarging the graves and disdaining the mighty in reckless abandon. When the evil wind of epidemic blows and the miastic angel takes a stroll, the gods are not to blame. As we sing the song of war at peace and fan the flame of disaster to burn, leaving our defenses to chance or fate, opening our laboratories to concoct and formulate, the conspiracy theories to theorize our hate, the conspiracy theories the demons don't understand. The gods are simply watching, for they are not to blame. I wish to acknowledge God for His awesome presence and help. For this to be done at this time, it only took God. And sometimes I feel carried by Him. I thank my parents, late Pa Thomas Eyonya and Madam Benedict Epamanya of blessed memory, strict disciplinarians, raising 5 female children. We've lost it. They gave us no room, absolutely no room for failure. Every book on the list of books given in school will be bought. If my father does not find it, even after the school year, and he finds it 1 year, 2 years after, he will buy it. And my mother made sure she would choose the school we go. Each time we pass Federal Girls, she said, that is where you are going. And 3 of us ended up in Federal Girls colleges. I want to thank my darling husband. It's been awesome to marry a wife like me. Hey, it takes patience and understanding, and he has it. It sure feels cool being just one ring in amongst 24. He does the other 23 roles. I do just one. So I feel good. Thank you so very much. I love you, dear. I want to thank my siblings. My immediate senior sister is my coach anytime, anywhere. She will always teach me. I remember as I was growing up, when they would call me, Ekanem Oyo-Ita, I will answer, yes. She would say, do, ma. And that was used all through our childhood days. She continued coaching me. She coached me to pass Federal Government College exam. And my little sister, Teresa, sits doting sister. I love you too. My teachers at all levels of study, from primary school to tertiary institution, I remain grateful for all that you have done to make me. I want to talk about one particular one, Mr. Nukogwa, my literature teacher. I had a very boring teacher before Nukogwa came in. Our literature class used to be siesta period. We would just sleep. And when Nukogwa came in, fresh graduate from University of Soka, oh my goodness, literature class was lively. And that prompted me to love literature. And I have lived that all through. I will pick up a book, predict the question so much that at one point they said there was expo. I didn't expose anything. I only did what my teacher, I followed my teacher's footsteps. May God give us such teachers. I acknowledge Professor J.J. Andy for his fatherly care. His professorial stethoscope. My God, we can't forget it. But when he places it on the patient's chest and expects us all to hear, we will all crowd around, we listen, then behind we say, did you hear? Did you hear? We wouldn't let him know we have not heard it. Our fear was, if you don't hear using professorial stethoscope, is it that little man that you will hear from? Oh, we were scared, but no. At the end of it, we passed. He encouraged me to specialize. And when I finished, he will give me a thump at the back. Young lady, get published. I hope I have published enough for him. Thank you, Professor J.J. Andy. Professor Sukwa of blessed memory too supported me when I was the first head of department of community medicine, given nothing except a room with water at the ankle. Sukwa was the one that gave me office and built that office, got residents employed, and today we have a wonderful Department of Community Medicine. I want to appreciate the 7th Vice Chancellor, Professor Ibare Esu, who gave me employment. After I had tried for 1 year to be employed, my head of the department then will put my request in his drawer and wouldn't forward it. I got to the provost, he did the same thing. Until one day, my husband got tired and went to a special advisor in government who took my application to Professor Ibare Esu, and he asked, who kept this person away from being employed? I want to thank him for giving me the opportunity to be part of this university. And I hope that I have not disappointed him. I thank His Excellency Senator Oliel Iboke for giving me the opportunity to serve in his cabinet as the Commissioner for Health. And while there, I worked with the Deputy Governor, His Excellency Barrister Efio Kobo. His support really helped me in that office. I want to thank the staff of my office, then the Commissioner of Health office, who worked with me to ensure that I succeeded. There is somebody I need to thank specially, Mr. Bob Ekwere. All this computer you are seeing me use, it was Bob Ekwere that taught me how to boot a computer and how to boot a mouse. And today, my notepad is computer. And some of you, I have forced you to follow me. Don't blame me, blame Bob. He caused it. And then Professor Martin Merimeko and the wife, very supportive family. After Bob taught me the computer, it was Martin's laptop I used. And if you see the book, you'll see the details. I have a friend, a sister, and a mentor in the person of the 11th Vice Chancellor and the first female Vice Chancellor of Banco Ebi. Our friendship happened in an unusual way, and I treasure the moment that we became friends. Thank you very much. The principal officers of the university, it's been wonderful working with you. In fact, it is a family. And even after I leave office, I'll remember you. Thank you so very much. The deans and directors, heads of departments, exam officers, all directors and non-teaching staff of the University of Calabar, it's been wonderful working with you. I appreciate you very deeply, because it's one thing for you to give instruction, it's another thing for the people to obey. Now, if they don't obey you, their directive is useless. But these ones have been with me and have given me all the support I need to succeed. The DVC's office, the staff in the office have been very, very supportive. When this university closes, DVC Academics office does not close. I don't work alone. Those staff there work extra. People will come to the office past 6. I will ask them, didn't work close at 4 o'clock? They say, we know you will be here. And those staff will be with me. Thank you so very much, my staff. I want to especially recognize Daniel Idoneji, the network programmer. He simply turns my wishes into wings I flap. Daniel, I appreciate you so much. Thank Dr. Basi Keme and Edet, who supported me in the new department. Greenhorn as I worked. They go public health. all staff of the community health and public health are highly appreciated for the unity in supporting me and keeping the flame of our department on. Thank you all. The different researches we've carried out, I couldn't go to those communities alone. People went with me, and every one of them worked with enthusiasm. And thank you so very much. And indeed, together, we traversed and traversed the land of Cross River with zest. We explored her wide front path, just because you kept pace with me. Thank you so very much. I want, on that same vein, to thank Javier and Christian of the Swiss TPH, who collaborated with me in those researches. You can have a grant. If you don't have collaborators, you will not succeed most often. But they were always there. At any time I called on them, they were ready to collaborate with our university. So I remain very grateful to this too, from the Swiss TPH. I also want to thank the ministers of God whom God has used at the different points of my life to make me. And these are Archbishop Idemikon, Apostle Inyaibe, Pastor Ifeanyi Okoro, Reverend Israel Eyo, Reverend Joseph Ushe. I hope I have not disappointed you. Thank you for the support you've given me in my spiritual life and praying for me to succeed. Of course, my extended family members, they are always there. When I mourn, they mourn. When I cry, they cry. At any time I call on them, they are there. I can't thank you enough. I feel your warmth all the time. And today you are here. I deeply appreciate you all. Thank you, and God bless you. My very last word. If you don't remember any other thing, please remember not to hesitate to receive sicknesses in small doses. For indeed, thank you for your attention.
I think we can do better than that. Thank you very much, our dear DVC. In fact, parlayed our curiosity. We were greatly worried we were very curious when we read this lecture topic. But today, you've done great justice to this topic. In fact, I really sympathize with those who are not here. But then, the gods are not to blame. On this note, I want to respectfully invite the chairman of this occasion to step forward and receive a copy of this lecture monograph. And we put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor.
Once again, I want to thank the 11th Vice Chancellor, the very first female Vice Chancellor of our university, for the opportunity she has given me to present this inaugural lecture. She's one of those that pushed me, and many others here seated And today, by the mercies of God, it has been delivered.
The last time we had a lady who presented it very well. Which I want to ask her a question, whether she's a registered member of a Teachers Regional Council. Because if you listen to her carefully, the way she presented the lecture, very easy. She's not tense up, meaning that she's at home with her profession. Let's clap up for her again. I know that what she has demonstrated today will be benefit to her students, because I tried to jot certain things which I will say here, but the way she was presented it, I was carried away by her lecture. Let me once again use the opportunity to thank the inaugural lecturer, who has clearly told us today that you should not blame the cause, but rather blame yourself. You are supposed to do certain things to take care of yourself, build your immune system, to avoid all these things flying up and down, left, right, center, infection flying left, right, center, all this, and you at the end you blame the cause. The cause are not to blame. Inaugural lecturer, we appreciate you. A knowledge day, we appreciate you. On behalf of the University of Calabar, management and students, we appreciate you. You have done very well. We have learned so much. We are leaving this place with so much in our heart. Please stop blaming the cause. Stop blaming the devil around you. Stop blaming the people you are not supposed to blame. Please do what is obvious to take care of yourself. Build your immune system so that this little sickness should not develop and spread around. Ladies and gentlemen, be careful, because these infections are flying all over. Be careful, so that you should not be attacked. You may have dodged in so many ways, but there will be a time that you will not be able to dodge. So you need to be careful. Thank you, Honorable Lecturer. We want also to thank our dear Vice Chancellor, who has given us this opportunity to showcase ourselves and also reveal to us what we have done over the years. Even though I'm talking about the inaugural lecturer today, my professor is still carrying small p, which I want to challenge all of us that are still carrying small p to do what the inaugural lecturers have done today. I was praying seriously in my heart, help me so that my small p should be erased. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for this encouragement. Let me also thank our guests. I've seen so many big men and women in this place, for making time to be with us here. Come and share the knowledge we in academia have been having over the years. This is what we have been doing. There's so much in the university that the town can come and tap into it and develop themselves. See, that is why when she was presenting, after introducing the topic, she went into looking at the different studies she has done, what she has contributed to knowledge based on what she has done over the years. That is what is expected of us. And that is a very novel way of handling it. Inaugural lecture here is not to come and bring new issues. It's things that you have done over the years. Come and tell us what you have done. And she has done that in this inaugural lecture, which will be useful to the society, useful to policymakers, useful to the villagers, When she was talking, she mentioned some villages close to my village, where she mentioned some of these viruses. I just pray. I say, oh, so God have been helping me to escape all these things. Yes, thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. Let me also thank my dear days. If you look at that line up there, the days are always here. To grace inaugural. Let me come on for the days. Let's come for the days. Let me thank all the professors that are here. And today we are more in number than what it used to be. I encourage us to continue this way. I whispered to my registrar that why is the hall not filled? This hall is supposed to be 2,000. Why is it not filled? Because this is a college affair. College with so many faculties. We expected that the hall will be filled and most seats will be needed. Let me encourage ourselves that look, inaugural lecture is where we come and gain so much. Inform our colleagues, inform the students. You always attend inaugural lecture so that you come and get your part. I have gotten my own part today. I'll be very careful, even in relating to people, because you may be carrying germ, you may carry one infection, so that should not be part of me. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. In closing, we want to thank Almighty God who has helped us, and we are here and we have enjoyed ourselves. And we want to invite all of you again for our next inaugural lecture that is coming up very soon. Thank you very much. God bless you. Go back safely to your home in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Committee of Deans. Before I call on the chairman of this occasion to close the ceremony, let me in a very special way recognize the presence of the former Deputy Governor of Cross River State, His Excellency Barrister Etienne Kobo. You are welcome, sir. On that note, now we invite the Vice Chancellor, who is the presiding officer, to give closing remarks. Can we put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor?
Closing remarks. To appreciate the inaugural lecturer, especially for this podium. When I came in, I noticed it, and I said to myself, Angela has brought this one, and I know she's not going to take it back. So I'm very happy. Thank you for this donation. We really appreciate. I know that there are many things she's been pointing out that we should do up here, and I hope we're going to do them before the time will run out to improve the International Conference Center, which we are sitting here now. I want to join my registrar to appreciate His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, for finding time to be here with us, and the Royal Highnesses who are all here. I want to thank everybody who has come here, the family of the guest, the inaugural lecturer, the darling husband and children. We appreciate each and every one of you. Now, we just said, like, the chairman committee of deans, who is representing the person that took over from him actually, told us that in inaugural lecture, we're not just coming to talk grammar. In other climb, it is after your inaugural lecture that you are pronounced a professor. Because you are to tell the world what you have done that qualifies you to be a professor. We know we are late here, and that is why the tempo is very high. Today we are having 129 inaugural lecture for a university that is 50, almost 50 years old, meaning that we have been laid back in terms of inaugural lecture. But I want to thank my colleagues who in the last few years have worked up to this challenge. And I tell you, it has been awesome. We have the 130 and 131st online already. The next 2 weeks we'll be having our Bishop Noye will be here as the next inaugural lecturer. Please come in your number and support him. And then after that, we'll be having another professor present his own inaugural lecturer. You could see that the tempo is very high. we started by looking for people to present inaugural lecture. Today, we're not just presenting one, we are presenting 2 every month, because people have woken up to realizing that as a professor, you need not owe this debt, because it's a debt that you tell the world why you became a professor. So if you don't tell people how you became a professor, meaning that your professor is questionable. And that is why each and every one of us, I keep telling my colleagues, every one of us must please, we won't mind even making them 3. We can have 3 inaugural lectures every month, because we want to give you opportunity and time to showcase yourself to the world, how, why, and how you become a professor. Please come out. The queue is long, but we want as many people as possible to come out and present their inaugural lecture. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate Angela. In fact, at the time I said, look, you can't leave as DVC if you don't present inaugural lecture. It's not possible. You must present before you leave. And the work of the office is very tedious, very demanding. And sometimes you say, ma, how will I write? I say, you have to write, because this result has to wait. She's no more DVC academics like they have told us. She's DVC result. So that Angela, even when we are in Senate, she's with a laptop and looking at results. But important things have to be done. After the official work, you have to account for yourself, who you are. Today you are made time, because for anything you set your mind and do it, you will be able to do it. Because you say, yes, I can, you can't actually do it. Today you are made time to give and deliver a very fantastic and beautiful inaugural lecture. Nobody will know the pressure you went through, except yourself and your family member. But you have done it, and you did it with ease. So I really appreciate you. I want to thank each and every one of us, and please, I want to invite our colleagues to always bring their students. Please, deans, if a professor of a faculty is presenting inaugural lecture, there's nothing stopping you declaring free lecture from 3 o'clock in that faculty, to allow your students come in here and learn. Today we blame our students of not having enough because we don't challenge them. This is an opportunity where students learn in a very relaxed environment, not in a classroom environment. And when we were students, this kind of opportunities, we hardly will miss them. And many of us sitting down here, we never miss this kind of opportunities. We attended all guest lectures, convocation lectures, inaugural lectures. Please, let's try to also inculcate such habits to our children, so that our students will also begin to attend inaugural lectures. Thank you once more for coming. I wish you well. And please, the next 2 weeks, come back here and support Professor Bishop Noye Egbe. Thank you, and God bless.